Everybody to MS Office Hours. It is Thursday, September 28th. Let me please introduce our hosts.
Hello, everybody. My name is Heather Cox. With me today are...
Hey, everyone. I'm Garrett Chandler.
And I'm Andrea Singrio.
Yes, and we are very excited to have Natalia with us today and share about some Canvas apps. And honestly, I really think you will, because I saw this earlier. I just get some amazing ideas, and then we'll circle back. Like I said, let's leave her off the hook on the licensing piece of it today, so she can get through all of her pieces and parts, and then we'll circle back to licensing. So Natalia, the show is all yours now.
Thank you, Heather. I appreciate it. So like Heather said, this will be a really basic overview mainly for anyone who hasn't ever touched the Power App Studio before, just to demystify going in and making your own productivity solutions for yourself, maybe as like a starting point. I know all you admins probably know a lot of this information, but I want to get people excited so then when we do have the licensing conversations, there's more ideas in everyone's individual minds as to how you can generate your own personal impact as well as impact on your team through, in this case, Canvas apps specifically. So quick introduction about myself after that caveat. Again, I'm Natalia Tovar. I'm a cloud solution architect on the modern work team supporting our education customers under our fearless leader, Heather Cox, and I focus on the Power Platform. And today I'll be taking us on this little road trip to learn about how every one of you can start leveraging Canvas apps, and we'll head over to the demo at the end to get an idea of the Power App Studio. So
Natalia, really fast before you go, turn that the thing off, because I don't want them ruining your presentation.
Thank you.
I want them to
it's a secret.
Journey with you.
Totally. Yes. Thank you. So like she said, we're on the journey. This is all of us, the citizen developers that will be included in the journey. This includes all of you. And like I said, I know a good deal of you are already started using Canvas apps in your organization. But if you're having a hard time mentally putting yourself into the citizen developer category, maybe because you've personally never opened up the Canvas App Studio, I'm hoping that by the end of this, you'll feel a little bit more confident in the potential of what you can build. So off we go in our car. So Microsoft's Power Platform in general was built with the intention of dealing with a lot of the central issues in traditional development that organizations are facing today. And even though traditional development is very useful, obviously, for building out really complex solutions, the process doesn't always lend itself to keeping up with the demand for business applications that are needed at every level of an organization. And because you're likely not going to put a team of developers to work on an app that's only going to benefit, say, one person, or just even a small set of an organization, those apps and ideas then go to be unmade, never get made. And then a great deal of opportunities for that streamlining and just plain old making your life easier are lost due to the need to prioritize those resources for larger areas of investment. So whatever shall we do with this development roadblock? That is where low code comes into play, which is the foundation of Microsoft's Power Apps, and more specifically, the Canvas apps that we'll be discussing. And if you're not familiar with low code, it's a method of creating software applications with less coding than traditional code first development. Low code platforms like Power Apps typically tend to be quicker, easier than traditional development, and people with basic to, I would venture to say, no coding experience, and not just professional developers, can use these low code tools to create apps. And it's fairly quick process to pick up on if you're interested and have motivation to do so. And giving the simplification of development through those low-code solutions, not only can those non-developers build their own solutions, but pro devs can then really expedite their own development processes, as well as get that list of prioritizations done quicker because they can create solutions by leveraging Power Apps. And then with Canvas apps specifically, you can start with a completely blank canvas and customize all of the components. And you can design the app just by dragging and dropping the elements onto a canvas, just as you would design a slide in, say, PowerPoint. And there's, like I said, some basic coding. And it's all in a Power Platform specific coding language called Power FX, which is a very straightforward and a lot more intuitive than your traditional coding languages. It really mimics the logic that you would see in Excel expressions for things like specifying logic and working with your data. So if you've ever worked with any formulas in Excel, and if you've ever made a PowerPoint, it's going to at least start to look familiar for you. And we'll take a deeper look in the demo as well as to what that actually looks like, because that's what I really want to get across today to anyone who hasn't seen it, how user-friendly it can be. So now that we've overcome that barrier, what is next? Now that I've told you that anyone can create these amazing solutions, customize them, however they'd like to do that, is now the Wild West in terms of how you can utilize that technology. So the most important factor before beginning development is being able to identify those opportunities for impact. And though there are some really large-scale organizational opportunities that may initially come to mind for you, I invite you to first start small with that thought, with the tasks that personally haunt you on a day-to-day basis. So anything that's ever made you internally grumble and say, why hasn't someone addressed this process? Any place where you can clearly see that there is a better way to do something, make it more straightforward. And especially the systems where the origin of where it's coming from can no longer be traced, because that's the reality of any large organization, is that with many informal tasks that we all do every day, someone probably just started that process at some point in time, and then it stayed that way. And no one's been able to take ownership in upgrading it because it doesn't have a specific hierarchy of how to continue, how to move along with it. There's maybe not an obvious next step, but I think the Power Platform and Canvas apps can really be a great vehicle for creating that next step. And to give you some inspiration of a couple of examples of apps, and again, we'll see some more in the templates later, are things like approval processes, onboarding experiences, information centers, training pages, service help desks, and even down to simple things like my mentor, Nick Miller. I'm not sure if he's on the call. He builds apps for all of his just day-to-day things. Like he has this timer, if you've ever taken a workshop with him, that he built to use during breaks in workshops. And because the other timers that he was finding online just weren't doing exactly what he needed, so he was able to customize it. And again, this can be just a day of a small scale thing that you're just doing for yourself. And I just think that's a really good way to build up your knowledge and then feel confident being able to use it as a citizen developer and make impact on your team. So is my idea viable? So now you have your fun idea of something. Once you've picked that opportunity and you want to vet it, and see if it's possible to develop in Canvas apps, you have a couple of choices you can make on the back end then to make your idea come to life. So we're hitting the crossroads here. It's going a little slower in the desert. So your data is really the backbone of your app when you build an app in Power Apps, and you store your data in a data source. And then to bring that data into your app, you create a connection. So a connection is established using a specific connector that enables communication with the data source. And Power Apps offers connectors for a wide range of popular services, on-premise data sources, so things like SharePoint, Excel, SQL Server, and then as well as the Dataverse. And this is where an app maker can then choose to either leverage data that you already have or transition that same data over to maybe a dynamic data source if it's not already there. And of course, you can then choose to also start fresh with a new connection entirely if you're looking to do that as well. And then once you've created that connection and you've selected your data source, you can just retrieve and manage your data within your app. And Power Apps is going to allow you to fetch tables from the data that you're working in. And for example, so if you're working in SharePoint, you have a SharePoint list, you can pull in them all just by the names of the tables, and it's really intuitive. And that gives you a lot of flexibility with how you customize within your app. So you can filter and sort your data and use it all in the same ways that you would in Excel, very straightforward with the formulas. So by leveraging all of these, creates a really seamless experience to connect to your different data sources. So now that, and like it says here, there's about 200 plus. I would venture to say that for Power Apps alone, that's closer to 400 plus. Keep me honest if someone knows more than I do in that regard, but there's tons and tons of them. So it's not for lack of connectors that you will have an issue. Some of them do range into the premium. Again, that's a licensing question that we'll delve into later, but there's a lot of great standard ones for these sort of more day-to-day tasks that I've been mentioning that your Canvas apps can be leveraged for that are great. So now that we have our connectors ready to go, we can actually get started in building our app, and the Power App Studio can be found, as you see here, make.powerapps.com. So I'm gonna take you all over there to take a look at a couple of the basic apps that I've been working on in the last couple of weeks. For those of you who haven't seen what the Power App Studio looks like, in the demo, we're going to be going over a time off app that Heather came to me as an idea for building out, as well as a Viva Modules resources app. So you'll get a picture as to what this looks like if you haven't taken a peek before. So let me pull that up. Any questions in the meantime, or any thoughts on anything?
Natalia, you will at some point, if you have time, have to explain how you did your transitions. So
There's only 4
Um,
slides because I got the animations were taking years off of my life, but I will teach you all how I did it.
Perfect. And Carlos, is it a quick question? Because I just want to make sure she has time to do the demos.
Oh yeah, just comment. The out of office template app is like one of the easiest ones to just do in one shot, and everybody loves that because you don't have to go to Outlook to figure out your out message.
Totally agree. I think I don't know, Heather, you tell me if I feel like it's made a pretty big impact on the team, and it wasn't too heavy of a lift, and it taught me a lot as I was building it out. So I think in both regards, it's a really good opportunity there. All right. So first of all, before we delve into the apps I've created, I'm actually going to go through a quick demo of what the studio looks like, just for all of those who have not seen it yet. So here I have built out just a mini couple of screens that I'm going to give an example on. So as you can see here, this is where all of the components that I've added to the screen are so far. So in my first screen, I just have the one header in the same sort of PowerPoint layout that you would see. And I've made a second screen with that second header as well. And then if I want to add any sort of inputs, all I have to do here is go over to the insert where it has all sort of inputs, displays, layouts, media, icons, as you can see all of that. And that is where you can select different options, like you see here, drop downs, date pickers, everything. And it's all just a matter of drag and drop. So in this case, for the purposes of our example I'm going to be showing today, I'm going to build a button that will take us from this screen over to the next screen, just to show you all how quick and easy this actually can be. So, quick and easy. I swear it's usually quick and easy. So here's the button that I'm adding. And again, same controls as PowerPoint. We can type here, next page, which is where we're headed. And, I'll make the font here bigger. And naturally, there's a please wait. I promise it usually doesn't make you wait. There we go. So, and as you can see right now, the functionality that I have is the functionality of a button. But currently we haven't told it to do anything yet, so it's not doing anything. But then if we go over here to the properties of that button, you can see all the things like the fill, the font, all of the same properties that we're seeing over in this box. You can also see displayed here just in a more code formula in the formula bar. But for the purposes of actually creating an action, here's where you can also create that. So for example, we have the onSelect property, which intuitively is what would occur when you select the button. And if we go up here to the formula bar, where we're going to write the low code part of the low code application. And all of these functions are in documentation that I can send over after the fact if you want to get an idea, but they are pretty intuitive. So in this case, I want to navigate to screen 2. So if I start typing out navigate, it's already going to give me some examples of what I might be thinking. And I'm just going to navigate over to screen 2. Internet's being slow on me. And now when I click that, it takes me directly over there. So quick and easy, just an example of how a formula works to get you feeling a little bit less mystified about the Power App Studio and how that functions. So I am just encouraging you all, if you have not entered the Power App Studio, go in, give it a try. It is phenomenal just to play around with and see what you can create for your own self. And you can improve your own processes in a really quick way. So then if you don't want to start from a blank slate like that, there's also these amazing templates, which is my actual probably first recommendation, even before looking at the blank canvases. These are all built out templates that you can start with fake data in there for the time being, that you can then connect to your own data sources and get started with all of these things like you're seeing here: expenses, interview tools, product showcases, inventory management, out of office, already fully built out for you to get started with. And then it's just a matter of connecting your data and customizing it however you'd like. So any internal things, again, I know licensing, especially on the student end, might be a challenge that's further down the line right now. But for things that maybe just a couple of people just to get started with, I highly recommend checking out these templates. And then to take a look at some of the things I've made without templates just in the last couple of weeks, mainly just for my own education on Power Apps and getting more apps under my belt personally. I've chosen to not use the templates, but of course the templates are amazing as well. So here's the example app that I built out with Heather. where you go over to your submissions. So these are the upcoming out of office submissions that I have. This was actually one I made with her on a call this morning as a test. So you can see I've commented that there's a test. And then I can also take a peek at all my past submissions as well. I can go in and delete any submissions that I have, as well as edit any submissions that I've already made. And in order to maintain clarity on my team, anytime I edit or delete or submit a new request, the flow here in the Power App is going to directly send Heather an email that's going to say something to the effect of Natalia has submitted this time off. Go in to your own app and approve or deny that request. So then here, if I submitted something, for example, another test here, then Heather will get that email and it'll be added here to my list of requests. And then Heather's view, since I'm not Heather, I'm not going to see everything that she sees, but she will see something like this, where it's the different requests that she submitted, what she's approved, what she's rejected, with all of our little photos on there. And then she can filter, she can refresh on the user side. Where did it go? You can also filter and refresh based on different categories and things that you'd like to manipulate the data with. And this is all just a matter of a couple screens. And if you build out the idea well beyond before you get started, it's really quick to put together. But again, templates help a lot with things like this. I think what took the longest here was that I was trying to build it from scratch. And like I said, I did learn a lot, but that's not necessarily necessary for those causes. And then for another app that I was working on that was a matter of maybe 2 days that I just had an opening in my schedule. I made this resources for Microsoft Viva Modules app for internal use regarding the different modules. As I'm sure you all are aware, there's a new Viva module every 2 weeks, it feels like. And I also work on Viva as well. And then I was realizing that I was overwhelmed by how much new Viva information was coming in. And I know there was a lot of people in all the different business units who I'm sure were also overwhelmed by that. And the information is spread out so much over the organization that I kept thinking to myself, why isn't there a central place? Why isn't there a central place with sales information, VBD information, all that good stuff? And then it was a matter of why don't I do that? And like I said, it didn't take too long. In this case, it's really only the data source here is really only links and things that are already publicly available internally at Microsoft. So the different deliveries that are available, that one isn't a good example. There isn't that many. Also the licensing information. So this is all being pulled live from different sources where I've been able to find it. And then just different links to the roadmaps, links to the accreditation portals, all of that good stuff, just directly in one app. And again, this took me maybe 2 days. That might even be a stretch, because once you get comfortable, really putting it together is not challenging at all, because it is really just drag and drop. And it's just a matter of doing what you were already going to do, which was getting all the links, the hard part, the things you have to do every day to find what you're doing and what you're really using it for, and then putting it all in one place and being able to create something for other people to then use, because I was also helping somebody else onboard and I thought this would be super useful for them. And I think it has proven to be so in the time that since the time that I've made it. And then there is obviously maintenance, and there is a simplification here in all that I'm mentioning. And again, in licensing and administration of all this, governance, COE, there is a lot else that goes into building a functioning Power Platform citizen developer community in your organization. But I do just want to encourage you all to at least take a peek at what you can do just for yourself, just to get started, just to feel comfortable and have something to actually advocate for when you do go into licensing and seeing the value in it. So I'm going to go back to the slides really quickly. I just have one more to wrap us up. See. We're going to go back to our car. So we've all made it to the end. Congratulations on the new app that we have built together. And this, again, just a little bit basic of what you can do with Power Apps for Microsoft 365 plans. The basics, like it says here. And then quick plug for myself, I deliver the Activate Building a Power App workshop. So if you're all interested in just having a day with me to help build out an idea that you all have, just to get everybody comfortable, started and doing some labs to get you all comfortable with making an example of an app, just to get everybody started, I would be super excited and happy to help anybody out with that. So Yeah, happy to open up the floor to any questions regarding anything or any thoughts.
Yeah, what do you guys have? Obviously, you can see why I wanted Natalia to jump on and share, because she has made my life and the lives of our team members significantly easier. So if you didn't see my comment, she was very sweet to say, Heather, and I worked on, no, Heather didn't work on any of it. She said, Heather, what do you think? And I said, I love it. Those were my opinions on the thing. But yeah, what she's referring to with Activate Building a Power app. Yeah, as you know, we are, my team is the Modern Work CSA team. So if you do have Unified, reach out to your CSAM, if you know your CSAM account team, but that is an engagement that you can do and Activate Building a Power app. So you can obviously see that Natalia knows what she's talking about and whatnot. So yeah, there you go. What other questions are there? No, just I let y'all are cracking me up with the car change. I'm glad you even
Was that
recognized
the
that
bigger
you
sell
stepped
today?
it up. Yeah.
The the PowerPoint transitions. I will
And
teach
then-
you all. I will come back to have a
And
car.
then we race card.
Oh, he hasn't
Carlos.
gone yet. There you go.
Oh, there you
Sorry.
go. Carlos, what's your question?
It's really for other people since we already have this, but so I mentioned earlier the Center of Excellence toolset is sort of an essential piece for that. We didn't even know it existed for one thing. And then we, thanks to our field team, we got funding from Microsoft to get a partner to come do the installation and do the training for the administration. So how can folks, get access to that level of support? Because the COE installation is not necessarily trivial.
I don't know if that's a question or an answer Natalia has. I do know Andrea does have something. We do have another engagement that is around in our portfolio, our unified portfolio about the Center of Excellence. But Andrea, did you want to add?
Absolutely. Carlos, you are very lucky that someone found a way to help fund that for you because that is not standard practice. There are times, opportunities that we can find in the field to do that. However, that is a general offering, standard offering that we have inside of the unified offerings for support and proactive credit use. So that is super easy with your CSAM, which is your my God, what is my role? Customer support account manager. What does CSAM stand for? That can coordinate that for you. If you're looking for a partner or if you don't have unified, partners are definitely great to leverage for those things as well. Maybe not the Center of Excellence stuff, but the partner to help develop or get you going. Off the top of my head, I highly recommend Pragmatic Works. I think we've had them on once before, but I know they're my go-to for a lot of things when it comes to training and support around Power Platform. I have personally, when I started with Microsoft supporting Heather, my gosh, Heather, it's going to be 4 years in January ago. But early on, when I was still in MLC, I took App in a Day, Dashboard in a Day, and one other from the folks at Pragmatic Works. They are fantastic.
Yeah,
However,
they're the ones we work with in that project, and we work in other projects with them. We did a App in a Day hackathon with them for our library people to move away from InfoPath into a Power Platform solution. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I've seen customers have obviously great success with Pragmatic Works. However, if you have Unified, please come to us first. You have already paid. That is part of what you've paid for. So use the money that has been put towards your, that's already in play already. Come to us, talk to your CSAM. And make sure that you're doing it through what you've, like I said, what the university, what the school, what the district, what's already been paid for. So that way it's not something on top of it. But yeah, and Carlos, we'll talk about, we may not do like a whole unified thing because we have been really trying to stay away from like salesy on here. We'll throw in obviously that yes, this is offerings we have to support, but we'll share some information on unified for individuals that are interested in it, because it is obviously incredible, useful. We have an amazing team. You guys who attend these calls know that because they're on the call all the time. They're so incredibly helpful. James, Weston, Dwayne, I'm missing names, but they're all amazing. But thank you, Natalia. Loved it. You'll have to share, like we said, the transition. She
Will
asked
do.
me in her, what the best part is that when Natalia and I first met, she's like, is the car like too cheesy? And like, should I do it? And I was like, I love the car. So
Heather will never say no to a theme. Never. And
I
I
thought
love
it
it
was,
too.
I thought it was fantastic. So yeah, and Tony, we'll circle back to yes, you can use the credits can go towards that. So all unified pieces of information we can maybe do potentially like
Maybe.
an aside call.
Well, I was
Like
thinking, Heather, we typically don't do one like winterish break or something, or not Thanksgiving. I'm not doing it then, but maybe the first Thursday or one of the Thursdays, because then I could practice, because that's part of my job now, is making sure everybody knows what unified is. And I would love to be able to
yes,
practice in a safe space. And I consider this a safe space where I
that's
know
what
you will
we'll
be
do.
honest and supportive, and we don't need to record that one and post it. It can be like, if you're here, you get it. If not,
That's what we can do. We can have an off week, on and off week.
yeah.
We'll do a unified session, because again, we really don't want you ever to feel like what we're doing is coming and selling. What we're trying to do is really help you. We want to share the products. We want to share how you can use them. We're not trying to shove things down your throat. We've tried really, really hard this year to stay away from that. I think even last year we really put in the effort last year and this year, especially like with bringing in partners. We want them to be with customers, because we really want this to be beneficial for you without it being focused entirely on having to spend money. I don't. I think maybe that's somebody just not on mute. But on that note, yeah, we'll do like an off the books unified session for folks. But really love that. Thank you all for being here. I know Garrett is still here, but he's not on camera, so maybe he had to kid duty or something. Okay, I don't know, because my kids pop in all the time. Y'all know that.
Oh, yeah.
So I didn't know if maybe you had the same thing.
Oh, 100%.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Natalia, for everything. And we look forward to seeing y'all next week in October. I can't believe we're there, but
Thanks,
October.
Alma.
So
How'd that happen?
we'll see. I'm kicking y'all out. Have
Bye,
a great
everybody.
rest
Bye,
of
Great
the
job,
night.
Natalia. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye.